Hi guys, I'm Daniel Mitchell. I'm here now at the moment just apologising because I've been unable to get my visa to come to Nigeria. You see, I've been living in London for 2 years and my visa expires shortly, and when I approached the Nigerian High Commission for a visa, they advised me that unless you have more than 6 months remaining on your UK visa, you have to go back to your country of citizenship, which for me was Australia. And unfortunately, we didn't have time for me to fly all the way back to Australia, then all the way back to Nigeria in order to put this presentation on for you. So what we've done is we've put together a video presentation, which is about to be shown after I speak now. And then hopefully we'll be able to get Skype up so that I can answer some of your questions live. But I just want you to be rest assured that everything here is still completely legitimate. So I'm going to give you 3 websites that you can go up and have a look at. The first one is Curtin University. Go to Curtin University, it's www.curtin, spelled curtin.edu.au. That is Curtin University's website, and if you go and have a look at the international section, you can see a list of agents for each country, and you will see that Global Student Placements is listed as a legitimate partner. The other thing you can look at is each of us have our own unique QEAC number. That stands for Qualified Education Agent Counsellor. It's a mouthful, but everybody at Access Australia and also at Global Student Placements has these numbers. So you can go and look up peer training or QEAC and put in Australia or Nigeria. You can put in my name, Daniel Mitchell, and my photo will come up, and so will my number, and you can check that out as well. But the same will happen for Global Student Placements and also my partner, Benjamin Sanquist. The third one is a government website. You can look at Access Australia up on an Australian government registry. Go to www.abnchecker.gov.au and also the Australian Business Registry. And what you can do is you can look up Access Australia Education Services, and it will show all of our details so that you can be assured that we are a registered business. The one other thing that you might want to look at is if you want to go to www.access-australia.com.au. On that will be our ABN, which is our Australian business number. That's unique for every business that operates in Australia. You can even do a search on that, and that will bring you up Australian government websites, which shows that we're an active and operating business. So look, without further ado, I know you're in great hands with Global Student Placements. Hopefully we get Skype up and I get to speak to a couple of you directly. But other than that, I'm going to let you get on with the presentation because we've all been working hard to put it together for you. So look, take care, and I will see some of you soon when I come back shortly. All right, bye. Hi, my name is Daniel Mitchell, co-founder and director of Access Australia Education Services, and I'm here at the invitation of Global Student Placements to speak to you about the Australian education system and the opportunities that are available to Nigerians. Now, first off, I just need to apologise because I was so excited that I was going to be able to come to Nigeria and meet all of you and see my good friend Banks again, but unfortunately, due to some visa complications with me being here in the UK, my visa wasn't granted without me going back to Australia, which unfortunately wasn't going to be feasible at this point of time. But don't worry, sit back and relax because I'm excited to be able to talk to you about all the educational opportunities that are available right now in Australia. Let me introduce myself a little bit further and talk to you about some of my experiences. I consider myself an international student and citizen. I've studied in 4 countries, Australia, the United States, the UK and Malaysia, and because of this, I understand the issues and concerns of international students and studying abroad. But also because of all these experiences, I understand why Australia is such a great opportunity, especially for Nigerians right now. The enormous value and investment by both the Nigerian and the Australian governments going into building the Nigerian and Australian relationship is right now about to explode. So there is no better time to build your relationships and build your business contacts between 2 countries. But before we get to that, let's learn a little bit more about Australia, shall we? So if you have a look at the map in front of you, Australia is the island, it's centre of page, just below the middle. Yeah? Western Australia is greyed out, that's the largest state of Australia, and Tasmania is the small island just below the mainland. So there's that big island Australia, and Tasmania is just below it. That's also part of the country Australia. If you compare the landmass to, say, Europe or America, you'll see that it's quite comparable. This is extremely important to remember because later on we're going to be talking about things like the population differences. And this map, this shows the geopolitical makeup. So this is the states of Australia. So Australia has 8 states and territories, and on this you can see all the capitals, which all have excellent universities available. Okay, and now we're going to go over just a few basic stats about Australia. Population, 22 million people. Remember the size of the country compared to the United States and the UK? 22 million people. That's the same landmass as the United States, which has 300 million people. The type of government, we have a constitutional monarchy. We have a lot of English heritage because we used to be part of the English Empire, or the British Empire I should say. So our language is English, we have a similar education system, a similar legal system, similar health system. Our currency is dollars and cents, and at the moment we get about 88 cents to the US dollar. And our lifestyle is very relaxed, it's very outdoorsy. Our dominant religion is Christian, with many churches and denominations available, but no matter what your religion is, whether it's Muslim or Hindu or Buddhist, there are many places of worship, not only in the main cities, but also on university campuses. Australia has an extremely strong economy with 23 years of consistent economic growth, with no signs of a burst bubble yet. Our main industries are agriculture, mining, oil and gas, education, industry and construction, food processing, chemicals, and steel. Now I'm sure you're already sick of hearing my voice, so to give you a better idea of what you can expect when you hit Australia, and more specifically Western Australia, I've sourced this tourism video for you.
Across the Indian Ocean, or the vast Australian desert, is Perth, a modern city of nearly 2 million people. The capital of Western Australia follows the Swan River from the port of Fremantle to its source in the Darling Range. Perth's remoteness gives the city a unique feel, and many say this is Australia's friendliest metropolis. The sunny, clean city is also among the most livable cities in the world. The surrounding nature and wealth of mineral resources attracts people from all corners of the globe. Some say the best thing about Perth is its coastline, with its pristine beaches and clear water. Others head straight for the delicious food and wine in the Swan Valley. In between is the compact city centre, with beautiful parks and fun attractions. Perth's cityscape shows a mix of styles, from towering Art Deco to the cosy, Tudor-inspired London court. Modern glass offices and limestone facades reflect the sky and the earth, as well as the future and the past. For a bird's eye view of it all, make your way to the top of the iconic Swan Bell Tower. Nearby Kings Park is where the first explorers found a natural spring and is still a place for discovery. You could spend all day in this inner city haven, which is larger than New York Central Park. Walk through the Botanic Gardens and pause at monuments and remarkable trees. Browse the Downtown Art Gallery of Western Australia to witness the development of the state through art. From the early days of farming and wool trade to the establishment of the Swan River Colony in 1829. Soon after settlement, the state's first botanists started to grow grapes on the water's edge, and Western Australia is now a world-famous wine region. Take a day trip out to the Swan Valley if you have a nose for quality produce. The area is full of boutique wineries, so take your time to find your preferred Chardonnay or Pinot Noir. Many of the early farmers caught gold fever in the late 19th century. Tour the Royal Mint to see the largest gold coin ever made and admire some of the greatest gold nuggets from the region. Crikey, imagine finding that! Perth's present-day treasure is Cottesloe Beach, and the best thing is, it's right on the city's doorstep. Rent a board and join the locals on the perfect waves. Visit the Western Australia Museum to learn about the state's archaeological treasures and amazing marine environment. See the real thing in the aquarium at Hillary's Boat Harbour. Just outside, the Sorrento Quay Boardwalk is a great place for a sunset dinner. From the harbour or the barracks downtown, take the ferry to Rottnest Island. Rotto has long been the favourite weekend getaway for Perth city dwellers. Snorkel in the warm Indian Ocean and walk along the stunning coastline. Keep your camera ready for surprising wildlife encounters. Western Australia has plenty of riches to share, and as the state capital, Perth has turned dust into gold. If you love surf, sand and sun, and a little solitude, Perth is waiting to be discovered.
Okay, so Western Australia is beautiful, but why do you want to study in Australia? I mean, that's why we're here, right? So I'm just going to now go over a few reasons why I think Australia is the best place in the world to study right now. First of all, Australian education is renowned for excellence. In 2013, Australia had 7 universities in the top 100 as rated by the QS World University Rankings. Australia is also the 3rd most popular study destination on Earth, and the education is recognised as some of the most innovative in the world. Australia enjoys an international reputation for excellence in many areas of education and training. Also, and very importantly, it's highly regulated because education is the 3rd most important economy to Australia. So because of this, it's looked after, it's highly regulated. So if you want to go and look me up, you can go online and you can see that I am a certified education counsellor. As with everybody with global student placements, we make sure that our education system is well protected, and that the people who work in it are highly qualified and know what they're doing. Aside from maintaining economic growth, my second reason why Australia is so good right now is job opportunities. Much to the envy of the rest of the developed world, Australia has managed about 23 years of continuous economic growth. This year, 2 cities in Australia, Sydney and Melbourne, managed to get into the top 10 cities in the world for student employment opportunities. The only country to get that was China. The US and UK did not have 2 cities in the top 10. Third, and this is really important, Australia has just changed its visa processing. When you apply for a degree in Australia now, if your degree is longer than 2 years, you can stay for another 2 years after graduation and work. You get full work rights, full living rights. There's no limit on the amount of time you can spend and work in Australia within that 2-year period after you graduate. No other country is doing this at the moment. 4, we have streamlined visa processing now for a majority of institutions in Australia. So what this means is when you apply for your university, your application counts as part of your visa processing. So once you've got your letter of offer and you go and you accept it, you get back what's called a certificate of enrolment. You take the certificate of enrolment when you apply for your visa to the Australian High Commission, and your visa will take about 1 to 2 weeks. You're treated as a level 1 country. 5th reason why Australia is so good is the course length. An undergraduate degree in the United States takes 4 years. If you study in Australia, it takes only 3. Enough said. And you get to stay for another 2 years. So if you wanted to compare the United States to Australia, you have to go after 4 years. With America, you're only just finishing your degree. With Australia, you've got your degree and you're still working there, and you've got a year's savings behind you and a year's of work experience. My 6th reason is quality of life. Australia is unparalleled to anywhere on earth. When you study in Australia, get prepared to have the best quality life you have ever had. Here are some quick stats. Australia rated the happiest country on earth, not just this year, but 3 years in a row. Melbourne has been rated the most livable city 3 times in a row. 4 cities, Melbourne, Sydney, Adelaide and Perth, are in the top 10 most livable cities and have for the last 3 years in a row as well, I think. And 2 of our cities are in the top 10 best student cities in the world. My next is cost of living. The Australian cost of living for students is actually quite low. People sometimes look at the tuition fees and think, oh, it's really expensive to study in Australia, but That's the highest cost. After that, the living expenses are quite low, especially when you take into account the amount of money you can earn while you're studying. In Australia, you can work 20 hours a week and earn minimum wage, which is $18 a week. So that's nearly $400 a week, and that's minimum wage. If you got an office job, you'd be on more than that. And out of that, you can pay your rent and all your food bills. Australia is an extremely multicultural society. We have international students from over 200 countries around the world. Curtin University has international students from around 105 international countries. Australians value cultural and diversity and social sophistication, and international students are recognised as bringing to campuses and communities different values and a richness. The climate in Australia has to be one of the best ever. Beaches, sun, warm weather you saw on the video. Perth is the most sunniest capital city in Australia and has weather like you saw in the video about 9 months of the year. But don't just take my word for it. Here's somebody, an American actually, speaking as to why Australia has again been ranked the happiest nation on earth and some of the opportunities that are available. So sit back and just watch this for a few minutes.
You might find a few more smiles down under compared to other places in the world. Home to beautiful beaches, magnificent coral reefs, and extensive deserts, Australia has been ranked as the world's happiest nation among developed economies for the third year in a row. This is according to the Better Life Index report released this week by the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. The study analyzed 36 countries on criteria like income levels, health, safety, and housing. When it comes to these measures of well-being, Australia takes the cake. 84% of Australians say they have more positive experiences in an average day than negative ones, and it seems like money might have something to do with it. More than 73% of Australia's 23 million people aged 15 to 64 have a paid job, 7% above the OECD average, and the average amount of spending money for each household is nearly $29,000 a year. The BBC points out Australia's economy has stayed relatively strong despite the recent financial crisis worldwide. It was the only major developed nation to avoid the global recession in 2009. And Australia has seen a greater demand of its natural resources over the past 2 decades, also boosting its economy. OECD put Sweden, Canada, Norway, and Switzerland in the top 5, along with Australia. The US came in as number 6. For Newsy, I'm Logan Tittle.
Okay, so now that we've learned a little bit more about Australia, the economy, and why everyone's so happy, let's talk a little bit more about Perth and Curtin University. So let's have a look at this map again. As you can see, Perth is underneath Asia, almost directly. This means that Perth is in the same or a similar time zone to a number of Asian business hubs, including Hong Kong, Beijing, Shanghai, Kuala Lumpur, and Singapore. This puts Perth and Curtin in a great position for linking students to relevant business and internationally significant entities. And so we've seen Perth is the perfect place to learn because of its environment, and also if you want to get involved in international business, it's the best place to find contacts and begin your career. So now I think it's time we start looking at Curtin University. Are you ready? Okay, we'll sit back, check out this video, and then we'll look at it further in a few minutes.
Based in Perth, Western Australia, and with state-of-the-art campuses in Singapore, Malaysia and Sydney, Curtin University is establishing itself as an educational powerhouse across the Southeast Asian region. With more than 42,000 students, we're one of Australia's largest and most highly regarded tertiary institutions. Curtin has a long history of producing top-quality, highly sought-after graduates, ever since beginning as the Western Australian Institute of Technology half a century ago. We offer comprehensive and internationally recognised degrees across a wide range of fields within its 5 major teaching areas: Science and Engineering, Curtin Business School, Humanities, Health Sciences, and the Centre for Aboriginal Studies. Curtin is an Australian university with a tangible international focus and flavour. As well as offering many internationally focused courses, we have more than 18,000 international students, not only from nearby Southeast Asia, but from over 100 countries. Our renowned teaching programs attract the highest quality lecturers and industry experts from across the globe, and our graduates are job ready. Curtin's extensive research activities are concentrated around 4 areas of strength, which hold the key to the future development of communities within our region. These are ICT and emerging technologies, health, resources and energy, and sustainable development. Our focus on these areas doesn't mean a narrowing of our scope. Our research remains broadly based to ensure critical mass and intellectual breadth and vigour. Rather, our focus on these areas differentiates Curtin from other Australian institutions and encourages cross-disciplinary collaboration. Curtin's main campus is found in Bentley, a suburb of Perth, just 6 kilometres from the central business district. Curtin is a young and enthusiastic university with a vision. We aim to be the top tertiary institution in the region in the near future, to become a leader in education and industry. With a strong history already behind us, Curtin is continuing to strengthen new and existing ties to industry and government, and maintaining its high-quality teaching practices. In doing so, it's ensuring a bright future for itself, both locally and abroad.
Okay, so let's just recap on some of that. Okay, so why Curtin? Well, Curtin's main Bentley campus is within walking distance of student accommodation and shopping areas. It's 6 kilometres to the centre of Perth, and it's connected by surrounding suburbs by safe, modern public transport. Curtin's the only university that invested in having a transport hub. As we can see here, this photograph is their bus hub, which they have to connect themselves to Perth City. And here's some of their student accommodation, which is nearby. There's a massive amount of opportunities. Curtin is Western Australia's largest university, and there's more places to study. Curtin has 7 campuses in Australia, including Sydney, Kalgoorlie. They have campuses in Asia, in Miri. I've studied there. It's amazing. There's a massive amount of courses available, and there's a lot of support to improve your English and academic skills, and also more pathways. So if you maybe don't meet all the requirements to enter in straight away, there's Curtin College, there's Curtin English, so there's a number of different ways we can get in with Curtin if we don't get it first time. There's a number of networks available, 46,000 students, 105 countries, with links all over Asia and the world. So Curtin, like most universities, has undergraduate and postgraduate courses. You can also do most of these by coursework or research, and industry-focused degrees in business, science, engineering, humanities and health sciences. The Curtin Business School itself is the largest and most industry-focused business school in Western Australia, and it's an award-winning institution. Its MBA is highly ranked. It's in the top 100 in the world, and the MBA is highly regarded and ranks in the top 100 in the world, and is accredited by the Association of MBAs. There's over 15,000 students in the business school alone, and there's CBS Plus programs to improve your leadership, teamwork and communication skills. So there's a standard amount of degrees that the Curtin Business Schools offers. You can see them listed here: accounting, business law and taxation, economics and finance, information systems, marketing, management, the Curtin Graduate School of Business as well, which has a campus in Perth City. It's a separate campus to Curtin. And there's some other courses as well. I studied property, so there's a number of things that are available. Science and engineering, Curtin has just invested in a multi-million-dollar resources and chemistry precinct. You saw it in the video. The new engineering pavilion is amazing. It was opened by the Prime Minister, and it's quite a massive and first-class institution. So Curtin is involved in a number of exciting and international research projects, and look, there's just a phenomenal amount of internationally recognised degrees, which has gone on to see students winning awards. When I was working at the John Curtin Leadership Academy, I had a student that was coming through science and engineering first year out. He was so smart, he got a job for $130,000. I was like, what am I doing? Alright, so here's a list of just some degrees and whatnot that is offered by science and engineering. So if you see anything that you're looking for here, make sure that you talk to Global Student Placements. If it's not here, make sure you talk to them as well, because there are more than this. These are just the short list. Alright, the Humanities School, again, state-of-the-art facilities and a number of opportunities, cutting-edge research, and again, lots of international recognition. Okay, so Curtin has one of the largest and most comprehensive health schools in Australia and Southeast Asia. Has 3 Public Health Association awards for Australia. In 2009, there's the Go Global program, where you can go and you can get experience studying in India, South Africa, China, or the Ukraine, and the community involvement through clinical services and placement programs. So it's not just theoretical knowledge, you get to go out and study with clinical services and placements. And again, there's 18 research centres and institutions, including Curtin Health and Innovation, Research Institute, and the Centre for International Health. Again, here's a list of courses that you can study. And of course, aside from coursework, there's also the possibility and the availability to study by research. This affects your visa though, so if you're doing a master's by visa, you can actually get an extra 4 years on your visa to work in Australia. So if you're interested in research or degrees by research, definitely have a look and have a talk, and we can see what we can do for you there. Okay, so Curtin is actually like a small city. There is so much that is available on campus. So if you're living nearby, or even if you're living on campus, you've got access to banks, news agencies, there's a supermarket across the street, there's a doctor which you can see for free, there's a travel agent, there's libraries, there's cafes and food outlets, there's gyms and sports programs. I think you saw on the video people playing volleyball. This is all on campus. It's a phenomenally large campus with lots going on, so you'll never have nothing to do, I promise you. And there is a great number of services and support available for Curtin. So Curtin has a career centre which helps you plan your future. You can go there and get assistance in creating CVs. They run classes and workshops in CVs, employability, interviews and things like that. There's International Students Association, so you can mingle with other international students. The Student Guild, which is like a union, it provides assistance and money and financial assistance to club societies. It offers training courses and some of the same things at the Career Services Centre. There are free counselling services, so if you're ever, maybe you're feeling a little bit homesick, or there's some issues going on where you need some counselling services, you can go and see them, and they're free. Again, there's the English and academic support programs. There's an after-hours bus service, security patrols, and access to public transport. So if you're on campus at night and it's dark, even though it's safe, if you don't feel very safe, you can just call security, and security will come and they'll escort you to the car, they'll escort you to the bus or transport. So there's a lot there. We can live on campus, but there's also other options for accommodation. So if you're looking for accommodation, I suggest you speak to GSP and they can have a talk to us, because there are some other options available than this that I think are probably better than living on campus. But if you want to live on campus, there are some options here. There's nearly 1,200 places available. It's a first come, first serve, and preferences are obviously given to students who are moving to Perth for the first time. But it's a multicultural community, and there's housing service officers to help you find your way around. Okay, so let's start talking about the entry requirements. For Nigeria, for an undergraduate, you need a GCE A-level or successful completion of the first year of a 4-year bachelor degree from a recognised university and separate evidence of English competence. The minimum entry requirements is an IELTS of 6.0 across the board, a TOEFL of 550. For postgraduate, it's a bit more difficult than that. You need an IELTS of 6.5 across the board, a TOEFL of 570 or TWE of 4.5. But please note that some postgraduate courses do have higher English language requirements, so you just need to check those specifically with your Global Student Placement Advisor. Also note that if you are applying for postgraduate study, if you studied your first degree in English, you might be exempt from our English requirements. So speak to your GSP advisor about that. If you don't meet the entry requirements for Curtin, don't worry about it, because there are other options available to you. If you don't meet the English requirements, there is Curtin English, which offers various length courses to make sure that you get your IELTS up to scratch. And if it's because of some other reason, maybe some academic qualifications are outstanding or are not there, Curtin College can help you with bridging courses to get you into degree courses into Curtin University. Okay, so the average tuition fees for Curtin University are between $12,000 to $15,000 a semester for undergraduates. Average postgrad diplomas cost $14,000 to $16,000 a semester, and masters cost again $13,000 to $15,000 a semester as well. The living expenses in Australia. Minimum food and groceries, they say, is $120 a week for a single person and $200 a week for a family. I'm not sure where they got that from, because when I was living in Perth I definitely wasn't spending that much a week, and so I'm not sure how a student's going to be spending that much a week, but there you go. Utilities cost around $20 a week for a single person, $30 for a family, and utility bills are usually issued by utility companies every 3 months. Accommodation ranges from between $150 for a single person and $350 for a family, and Australia $20 for a single person for public transport per week. It's recommended that you put aside $100 for a single person for entertaining and clothing a week, but again, I used to live in Perth and I didn't spend that much when I was a student, so it's all relative really. Work rights on a visa. So you are allowed to work. You're allowed to work 20 hours a week during semester, and outside of semester you can work an unlimited amount of hours. And remember, now, once you graduate, you can work 2 full years with full working and living rights in Australia. If you did a master's by research, you can work for 4 years. This is without having to apply for another visa. So this means now with your degree, you not only will get your qualification, but you will also get a few years of international working experience. Now I've just thrown this final slide in here. This shows you some of the average wages for certain industries that are available right now in Australia. So if you have a look at those, even the wages for the unskilled labour is quite good. So you can be rest assured that when you come here and you're working part-time, you will be getting a reasonable wage. And when you're working the final 2 years, you'll be earning a good wage while working towards a brilliant career. And finally, I just want to let you know that there are some scholarships available for Curtin as well. Curtin has just released a $10,000 a year tuition scholarship for all international students. So if you think that could be advantageous for you, then by all means have a chat to us and we'll talk to you about how you can apply. Okay, so what do you need to do to apply? It's extremely important that you work with a qualified education counsellor of Australia. Remember that link I told you earlier? Look that up online to ensure that the person that you are working with is trained and knows what they're doing in order to make sure that you get to Australia safely and have an excellent quality service. So work with Global Student Placements to put together your application to ensure that you get a letter of offer on your first attempt. And remember, there is still enough time if you want to enrol for next semester. Although it's only 8 weeks away, we can get you a letter of offer and get you your visa for this start date. So in order to apply, make sure you have the following required documents. You'll need to complete an application form, a disclosure of information form, which merely allows Access Australia and Global Student Placements to act on your behalf to Curtin University, an agent checklist which ensures you are aware of all the things that are required for when you go to Curtin and when you travel. We need a photocopy of your passport, any previous academic transcripts, and proof of English competency. If you're going for a master's, remember, proof of English competency might be your previous degree. It's also possible and also beneficial if you're going for your master's to have available any work certificates, CVs, and certification documentation. That said though, I really want to thank you for coming to this presentation and hearing me speak. Again, I'm so sorry that I couldn't be there in person to meet you all, but I hope that you see some of the opportunities that are available now in Australia and how Curtin can play a big part of that. Please speak to Global Student Placements for all your education requirements, and we'll be looking forward to working with you soon. Take care, and I hope to see you in Perth sometime soon.